Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video I'm going to do something a little bit different, a little bit excited for it as well, because today we are still talking about animation, something animated, but instead of Miraculous Ladybug, which is pretty much what I talk about in like every single video, we're going to be talking about Kpop Demon Hunters. So if you don't know, Kpop Demon Hunters is a new animated movie from Sony, who also make the Spider-Verse films, and this film is about a three-member girl group called Huntrix who use their singing to protect the whole moon from demons. So they basically like use their voices to protect their fans, they use their songs to protect their fans. However, disaster strikes when a demon called Jinwoo decides, hey, maybe we can finally win by forming our own boy group. Which to other people probably sounds really cheesy and a bit silly, and I won't lie to you, it was, but I don't care, because if you didn't know, I love K-pop. Look, I haven't been hiding it, I am not ashamed of my love for K-pop, I will tell everyone, but you only really find out personal things about me if they become pertinent to Miraculous, and K-pop has yet to come up, and I don't really think it ever will come up. But now you know, and I stare at this poster of 17 every night, it's opposite my bed, as well as pictures of Highland cows because I love them just as much too, and I was actually meant to see 17 in concert in March 2020, they were finally coming to the UK. But we all know what happened in March 2020, so it got cancelled and they haven't come back. Well, they came back for Glastonbury, but I'm not going to Glastonbury. I want like a full concert. So I have yet to see them live. 17 are my absolute favourite group. I have loved them, I think, since I was like 19 years old. It's been like over 10 years. I also love New Jeans or NJZ or whatever it is that's going on with them, so I'm a bit confused, but alright. Twice love them, Le Seraphim, Ailey, AOA, Bingle Bangle, Song of the Summer every year, B1A4, Oh My Girl, Ball 4, IU, Brown Eyed Girls 2NE1, Gravity, Day 6, ITZY, Dreamcatcher, Red Velvet, Lucy. We'll be here all day. I love K-pop. So as a result, I obviously love this film. Now, that's not the only reason I love this film. It takes more than just K-pop to get me to like something. So we're going to be analysing the film in today's video, a bit like I would analyse an episode of Miraculous, but a bit more in depth since obviously it's much longer than a 20-minute episode. But a few things first. One, as always when we talk about the writing of the film, because that's the only thing I feel qualified to talk about. If you don't watch my Miraculous stuff and I've just stumbled across this video, hi, my name is Hayes, I'm a professional writer. We talk about writing on this channel in TV shows, mainly Miraculous. If you want to talk about directing or animation or the voice acting in the comments, then go for it, but I'm a professional writer, so I'm going to stick with the writing. And on that note, I'm also not going to be discussing how well Korean culture was showcased in the film because I'm not Korean, obviously, but Talk to Me in Korean, which is a language thing I use to learn Korean, did a really interesting video about how Korean language was used in the film, like Saja Boys and like the meaning of other things. So I will link that down below for you because I thought it was wonderful. But at the end we are going to do a ranking of all the songs just for fun, because why not? And two, in my opinion, Kpop Demon Hunters definitely was not a perfect film. However, I don't necessarily think something needs to be perfect to be enjoyed. For example, my favourite episode of Miraculous Ladybug is Guilt Trip. And writing-wise, I know there are far better episodes of Miraculous in existence. I just really enjoy it. And three, yes, I'm about to spoil the whole film for you, so if you haven't watched it yet, what are you doing with your life? Go and watch it, have some fun, then come back and watch this video. And yes, I do think we'll be keeping version 1 of 17's Light Stick with me because I have yet to use it properly because I still haven't got to see them live. 17, what are you doing? Please, come back here. So first of all, we're going to start with the characters and plot. Usually I would do the characters and plot separately in these kinds of videos, but I do feel Kpop Demon Hunters' characters and plot are quite closely intertwined, so I decided to do them together. And for the most part, I enjoyed the plot on my first watch through, and I also ate an entire tub of Nutella ice cream before the first song was over. It was very good. But when I started thinking a bit more about it after the film was over, I was like, don't get me wrong, it was still very good. I think the opening of the film is basically perfect. It immediately establishes the stakes. We have the demons who are looking to take the souls of people, then we have the one way you can fight them, which is with a 3-part harmony, very specific. And then it introduces the girls, and I really love how this was done with the fans waiting for the concert to start where they talk about each of the members, and it actually really reminded me of when I was getting into K-pop actually. I definitely feel like it's a lot more accessible these days, but when I was getting into it, it was like at the tail end of the second generation of K-pop. We're kind of like 4th, 5th generation now. so it wasn't as accessible back then. Like these days, if you don't speak Korean, it's easy to get into groups from big and smaller labels, but back then, unless the group was like massive, like Girls' Generation, you probably have no chance unless you really didn't care what was going on in depth. You're just like, I'll listen to the music, that's it. But when I was first getting into K-pop, I think I started getting into it when I was like 18, but like at that time when you went on a music video, in the comments there was always someone who was like, okay, timestamp, this is member's name, their real name is this, their position is this, they are this many years old, their personality is like this, and they go through all the members as they appeared in the music video. I'm not sure if that was the intention of this scene, but it's what it reminded me of, and either way I think it was a really great introduction to them. And then we see the girls themselves and they're much more goofy behind the scenes, and I have seen people online say, like who aren't familiar with K-pop, be a bit confused as why they're like this when they're not performing. But I'm sure if you've watched idols on variety shows, or like with 17, they have their own show, Going 17, things can get a bit weird.
처음 먹방이네, 처음 먹방. Tasty.
So after my experience watching like everything 17 are in, I'm aware most idols are pretty goofy behind the scenes, so that was fine for me personally, but it might be a bit jarring if you're not familiar with that. And overall, I just really liked that the film didn't take itself too seriously. Don't get me wrong, there are serious moments, but I didn't like get the feeling they were taking it mega seriously. It wasn't afraid to poke fun at itself and have a good time. And then the demons are attacking them in that opening scene. They defeat them to the song, which they end on stage. It was absolutely an amazing opening, establishes the stakes, how they could help the world, as well as our three leads, and we also get a banger of a song. It was chef's kiss perfection. I also thought Gino's introduction was great with the singing and the idea of a demon boy band, and I know a lot of people have been saying that the rest of the members of the Saja Boys should have had more screen time and more lines, and I do disagree. While they obviously needed to be there because it's a boy group, but Gino wasn't debuting as a soloist, other than that, they don't really have much plot relevance. They're not really that important other than like jokes about Abby's abs, so I think their presence was just fine, and overall I really liked that the film didn't overwhelm itself with far too many characters. Like, it had just the right amount. It really helped to keep everything tight and succinct. That doesn't mean I didn't like the other members of the Saja Boys, I absolutely did, but I think it was for the best that they didn't have more presence, more screen time, more lines than they already did. I think they had just the right amount basically.
However,
I think one thing the film needed was more of the character Celine. So she is Rumi's foster mum after her mum died when she was a child, and Celine, who was in the previous girl group with Rumi's mum who protected the Honmun, has created Huntrix around Rumi. And she doesn't have many scenes, which I didn't think quite worked, since she has such a huge effect, a huge influence on Rumi and how she feels about herself. So we have the scene with Rumi as a child, and Rumi shows her demon patterns, and Rumi seems largely fine with having them, but Celine is like, oh my god, no, you have to hide them. Then later on, when Mira and Zoe are going to the bathhouse and Rumi declines, Rumi is like, maybe they won't mind, maybe these two will be okay with my patterns and seeing them. But again, Celine is like, no, you need to hide them, you need to cover them up. To the point where Rumi runs to Celine at the end of the film and basically asks her foster mum to murder her because she's part demon. So considering the depth of Celine's influence on her, I did think there needed to be more scenes between her and Rumi to really drive home Celine's influence. Like, for example, a great scene could have been at the end of How It's Done, so the end of the first song, and Rumi sees the golden Honmun for the first time. She could have called Celine to let her know what she saw, and then Celine is the one to force out the release of Golden Susoon. And then she could be like, hey, remember, if we do this, we can get rid of your patterns now, so you, like, don't you want them gone? Don't you want to be like everyone else? Like, really reinforce the hiding, the identity, hiding her true self to her. Rumi, Mira and Zoe are also all able to see the current strength of the Honmun, so I'm assuming Celine can see it too since she was a former hunter. So why after the debut of the Saja Boys hasn't she been like, hey girls, what on earth is going on? She seems to see it right at the end of the film, so I'm assuming she can see it the whole time, but I'm not actually sure. I just think it would aid more with Rumi's development, and two, make her self-belief at the end of the film make more sense. So like I said at the end, Rumi runs to Celine and she's like, killed me mother, and Celine is like, I'll pass on that. And we have a conversation about acceptance and hiding identity, and Celine is still like, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. No thank you, go away. So then Rumi heads back to Seoul and she's like, you know what? I have suddenly decided I am fine and I have fully accepted myself in however long it took me to get back here. And while I love that for her because it was great and also necessary for the plot, it does seem to come out of nowhere. So I think it would have been more effective if Celine was in the film more and Rumi is struggling to sing because of her patterns and Celine is reinforcing that she has to hide and just push through it. But then we have Jinu, who is trying to get her to accept herself. And even though he ultimately betrays her, she realises he is right. Speaking of Rumi and Jinu though, let's move on to their relationship. I did really like their relationship with the slow build of trust and also the tiger and the bird icons. Love them so much. They were the best. However, I really feel like their relationship was an issue I had with the film because I wasn't sure if the film wanted them to just be friends and build that trust between them, since this seems to be like the first demon Rumi has like properly talked to. Like she kind of briefly talks to the other demons she fights with, but like then she murders them. Like she doesn't have like a full-on relationship with them. So I wasn't sure if they wanted them to be friends or if they wanted a love story. And they kind of decided to do both. And while don't get me wrong, they have some great moments. For example, I loved the scene of them meeting on the rooftop together for the first time. I loved how at the bathhouse when her sleeve ripped and he saw her patterns and he covered it with a bandana. Loved it. But I felt the film hadn't decided which one they wanted to do. And while I feel both could be accomplished, where you make them friends first and then turn it into something romantic later, I personally don't really feel like they succeeded in it, which was a shame because I did really like where they were going with it. They just didn't quite have enough behind it. And one thing I really feel was missing from Rumi's character was her parents. Now, I'm not saying her parentage had to be fully explored and explained in this film. If they're going to do a sequel, which would be great, please do a sequel. I think that would be a great plot for it, exploring her heritage. If you've forgotten, Rumi's mum was human and her dad was a demon. And that's it. Like, we're just told that, was mentioned once and done. And I'm like, does Rumi at no point feel terrible that she's killing people like her dad? It seemed like she doesn't know him. Like, it seemed like she knew her mum, but then her mum died, but her relationship with her dad is never mentioned. Like, is he still alive? Does he have some connection to Guima? Is that why Guima can't control her? I really don't know. But it's so interesting. It's a huge part of Rumi's character because that's why she is that way. And they were just like, yeah, her dad's a demon. Anyway, and they just moved straight on. So I was like, okay. I'm not saying again, like, it had to be fully explored, but just maybe mention it a bit more because, like, it's a huge part of her. I think it would be a great topic for the sequel, so I don't mind them not going fully into it, but just like, maybe don't brush over it so quickly. In terms of Mira and Zoe, while I love them both, I definitely think Mira was much better written. So her backstory is that she was basically the outcast of her family, which meant she really values her relationship with Rumi and Zoe. She sees them like sisters because she doesn't really seem to have a family anymore. But she's still insecure still, which makes sense. Anyone would be if their family hurt them that much. And she comes across as very passive aggressive sometimes because of it, and I think she was really well portrayed. However, in my opinion, Zoe wasn't done as well. Don't get me wrong, loved her a bit. She was super cute, super adorable, so sweet, kind of violent at the same time. Loved it. She was great. But we don't get a ton of depth with her. The only time it's really explored is in the doctor's office where he reads them all and says she's a people pleaser, which, same, me too, Zoe. But I just didn't really get those vibes from her at really any other point in the film apart from maybe when they were trying to rewrite Take Me Down to make Rumi like it. That was it really, so I didn't really get that from her. And I also want to ask, because at this point confused me with the world building, do people, as in like the general public in the film, not know about the demons? Like at the start a demon is in the crowd at the concert, no one seems to care or question it, they're just like, oh, it's like really cool makeup or whatever. And then towards the end there's like a news reporter saying people are going missing. And like, what happened there? Like a whole train of people goes missing in the film. What happened? Did they come back after the last song, you know what I mean? Like, what happened? I don't know. I think that maybe could have gone a bit further as well. Overall though, I really like the film's message about not hiding yourself, which can be applied to so many things. For some people it could be about gender identity or sexuality. Personally, I'm disabled, my disability is autism, so I can very easily hide it if I choose to, although I prefer not to because I just don't really care anymore. So overall, I think I had a great message, nice simple plot, good characters. I just think overall for characters, plot, relationship, world building, they could have just done with a little bit more depth basically at certain points because it just seemed very surface level, and once you start really thinking about the film you're like, they could have done more there, more here. So it was still a good film, it just kind of needed a little bit more basically. So now we're going to talk about the outfits in the film, and this section's going to be very short because I have no notes. Basically, everyone's outfits were amazing. All fabulous. Rumi, Mira, Zoe, Jinu, Bobby, the other Saja boys. They were all chef's kiss perfection, so good. However, I did want to draw everyone's attention to the norige that Rumi, Mira and Zoe all wear at the start of the film. So norige are like a good luck charm that women wear on the hanbok, which is traditional Korean clothing. But even though Rumi, Mira and Zoe don't wear hanbok in the film, they are wearing norige on them at the start of the film, and these close-up designs of them were released and they just suit the characters so well. So like the page says, Rumi's is more traditional, perhaps due to her wanting to appear more normal due to her demon heritage, but it also has dark and light colours to represent both sides of her. Mira's has little charms of Rumi and Zoe in the middle to show how important they are to her due to her being an outcast from her family, and then Zoe's in comparison to the other two is more cute and fun. They just perfectly suit all the characters so well, and I wanted to point them out since they're a very small detail but it's an amazing detail, so I just wanted to show them to everyone. So while I liked all the outfits in the film, my favourites were Rumi and Zoe's outfits at the start, as well as all of their golden stage outfits. They were great. And also Rumi's pyjamas. I love a funky pair of pyjamas. Exhibit A, my Sesame Street pyjama shirt. Like, it's got Elmo on it. How could anyone hate these? So now we are going to end the video with a ranking of all the songs in Kpop Demon Hunters. Like with everything else in this video, this is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree. Songs are very, very subjective depending on your taste in music, and whilst I think all of the songs in the film serve their narrative purpose perfectly, personally, just as a song, if we take them out of the context of the film and the larger story, I didn't like all of them just as much, but again, just my opinion. So I'd love to know what you think of the songs, but again, I think they all serve their purpose in the story brilliantly, so these are just a ranking based on how much I just like the song as a song, not so much like as a song in the film, basically. So in last place, my least favourite song from the film is Free. I really wasn't a fan of it. As a duet between Rumi and Jinu, I don't know, I just didn't think it was the best song for them really. Like I said, all the songs serve the narrative purpose. I get the meaning behind this, but just like as a song, wasn't the biggest fan of this one. And following on from that, in sixth place is Your Idol. As K-pop songs go, I personally prefer more fun songs as opposed to the darker and the serious songs. So this one wasn't really a favourite of mine, which is why in fifth place we have Golden. I love the lyrics, love the outfits, love the MV, love the empowering message. It also suspiciously sounds like I Am by IVE. But it is more serious, but again, I do really like the empowering message. Next, in fourth, is How It's Done. I think this was an excellent song to open the film with, such a good song to start with. In third is What It Sounds Like. Much like How It's Done, this is a great song to end the film on. I loved it so much. In second place is Takedown. This song has been on loop in my head, especially the line, "Demons with no feelings don't deserve to live." It's obvious. So catchy and dark, I love it, and I also love Twice's cover of it, and also I just loved all the hints of Twice in the film. They had Strategy playing, they were on like the chart at one point. Great, amazing. And then of course, in first place, of course it's Soda Pop. This is my favourite kind of K-pop to listen to. I have been non-stop dancing to it. Yes, I have also learnt the dance routine. I do not care. I love K-pop, obviously. So in conclusion, like I said at the start of the video, Kpop Demon Hunters is by no means a perfect film. There is lots of areas for improvement where the writing is concerned. However, for a film like this, it seemed its main goals, in my opinion, were pretty clear, and they were to get you emotionally invested to one or all three of the girls, as well as have some fun with the songs. And it did achieve that really, really well. I really hope they do a sequel. Like, I am dying to find out what happens to Jinu, if anything. Like, I'm not convinced he's dead, or trapped in the demon world, rather. I'm not really sure, because like, is he already technically dead if he's in the demon world? I don't know. I really don't know. But at the end, the tiger was holding the bracelet, so I'm like, please, don't be dead. I don't know. I'd also love to find out more about Rumi's parents too. Like, is her dad still around? Did Rumi's mum kill him? Did Celine kill him? I don't know. But anyway, besties, those are my thoughts on Kpop Demon Hunters. Really, really loved it, really enjoyed it, and no, not just because it's about K-pop. But anyway, I'd love to know what the rest of you think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!